G'day flight simmers. That's Adelaide, South Australia CBD in the background, and further over you can see the Adelaide Hills. It's ortho, by the way. I downloaded some ortho files for the area, and the big stadiums over there. We're actually sitting at Adelaide Airport, Yankee Papa Alpha Delta. And this is a freeware one that I picked up from the net. It's actually was originally made for X-Plane 10, but whoever did it, very good job. In fact, I've just noticed that the detail is pretty good. Here's a holding area for running up, which I think looks pretty good. The rest of the airport looks pretty well done. Parking areas, and we even got a couple of cranes swinging around, dropping cargo, dropping loads. That sort of looks like a general aviation area over there. So we've got a Malaysia 747 there. Parking areas, tower, gates. So static aircraft. Of course, today what we're going to do is we're going to be flying the MD-80 from Adelaide down to Melbourne in Victoria. Not quite sure whether the air bridges will pull away, but we'll see. And I'm not quite sure whether the automatic parking thingos sort of work. Into the cockpit. I'm going to use the X checklist without the voiceover. I'm just going to see if I can rattle through these as quickly as possible to see that even though there's quite a lot involved in the startup procedures, etc., it can be done in a relatively short time. So we'll go. Parking brake set. It's already on. Battery. Stop to the battery here. 2 clicks. Batteries on. Position lights. MCP over here. 1 click. Emergency exit lights. Armed. No smoking signs is on. Request the GPU. Yes, we will. Down to here. Over the ground operations, we'll request the GPU. While we're here, we're going to open the front door. We'll open the cargo doors as well. So we have requested the GPU. Back up. To here now, we've got our our external powers available, so both buses come on. That's done. The start pump on. APU start. Starting up. The APU power bus left and right won't be activated until the light comes on. So what we'll do is we'll look after our fuel and load. Been on SimBrief to organise a route. We have to change that over to pound, and we'll start by filling all the fuel tanks. The block fuel 20727. Enter it. Total payload 39400. Our trip fuel 7868. Enter. Okay, looking down here, zero fuel weight is 117400. Simbrief is 117941, close enough. Gross weight here 138127. Simbrief 137868, which is good enough. And we'll start loading our fuel straight away. We'll expedite that, so we don't have to wait. Cargo will expedite. Passengers will expedite. So if we go back there, we'll see that this is all filled in. Equal amounts left and right for wing tanks. Passengers 81 forward, 76 cattle class. Everything's right there. We don't need that. So while we were doing that, the APU power became available. We switched that on. And because we've got the power from the APU, we first have to switch on the turn on the aft right fuel pump to feed the APU, and we can now get rid of the left and right buses for the external power for the GPU. Turn those off, and we'll go down and we'll dismiss the GPU. We don't need it anymore. Out of that, we've dismissed it. Next item on the list, HP bleed, both of them on. 1, 2. The galley switch is on. Windshield anti-fog on. Anti-ice on. We'll go up and do the IRS alignment. 2 clicks. That's done. Your damper can come on. Next item, logo light. It's daytime. I'm not going to worry about it. We'll ignore that. Radio shack fan comes on. Cabin pressure is set. Everything's on auto for that. Temperature auto, and it's on auto 1 here for the pressure. So that'll automatically adjust as we climb. That's okay. Altimeter. We'll have a quick look at active sky. Altimeter for YPAD 1030. We'll set that. That'll automatically set in the first officer's side as well. That's set. Hit the fuel reset button. Done. Hydraulic pumps 1 and 2 are to be on. They go to low. Takeoff condition. We've just got to check that the centre of gravity is at 0 and the flaps at 0, which they will be, of course, all the way back. Transponder. We'll set to standby. I'll leave it on 2000. We're not using ATC today. Next thing you see is the FMC. So to fill out, we don't need that one, and we don't need that one because we'll do it all ourselves. We'll go down here and we'll first off though move that out of the way, light up our defies, and we'll light up our FMC. Enter the IRS position. That's YPAD. Set the IRS position. That's set. And we're going to YMML Melbourne. I won't activate that just yet because there's a company route that I've got to work out. It might already be in there. No, not in there, not logged. And I'll just come back and I'll do that. Back again. I forgot to save the company route over into the rotate saved flights folder, but there we are. YPAD YMML. The runway that we'll be using today will be runway 23. Flight number, we'll make one up for Qantas QFA 55 will do. We'll activate that. We won't execute that yet because, oh yes we can, because our IRLs are all aligned. Hit enter. We'll go and just check, make sure that there's no discos. Yep, looks okay. We'll go now to Perfinite. This should enter it straight away because we've already loaded our fuel and cargo. There we go. Our reserves will be 2 tonne. Cost index, SemBrief doesn't generate one for the MD. So anywhere between 0 and 1,000, I'm just going to put in 400. Our cruising height for today is 33, flight level 330. Cruise wind is 242/055. Now it looks like it's time in maximum altitude is what? Let's just make that 300. See what happens. Invalid entry. Try it again. 300. That's better. Okay, got to put my cruise wind to 42/055. That ended. Outside temperature is 11 degrees. Transition height for Australia is 10,000. Takeoff. Going to use outside temperature again, which was 11 degrees. I'm not going to derate. I'll just go with what enters. Right. Straight off now we can see that our centre of gravity is 8. So before I do that, though, I'll enter the V speeds, and to do that, we look at the gross weight 138. Come down here to the nearest figure. In this case, it'll be 139, I suppose. And go across to flaps 11. And the V1's 137. VR 142. And V2's 150. Okay, we don't need that anymore. And we can enter those in. 137. 142 and 150. Right, now we may as well fix up our trim now rather than do it later. Come across. Right, if you recall, it was 8 for the centre of gravity, CG. Bring that up to 8. Of course, you've got to have that exactly right. Our flaps are going to be 11. And to get the long trim, we bring down the pointers to match. If you look up here, it's between 7 and 8, and that's between 7 and 8. So they line up pretty well. That's done. We've done our trim. We can go back to before start. Before start bleed, APU bleed on. HP bleed, we put 1 off. We open the crossfeed valves. We check that the doors are closed. Okay, that's done. Galley goes off. The aft and forward fuel pumps come on. We'll check to see whether there's any fuel in the centre tank, which there is. So, because we'll use it up first, we'll switch both of those on. As required, yes. HP bleed now both 2 off, so that one comes up. The hydraulic pumps transfer is on. There, both of those on. Position and strobe lights, 2, both on. Anti-collision light on. Transponder set to XPDR mode. Flight director. Bringing that switch on, puts both of them on. The maximum angle is, the bank angle is to be 15. Well, up here, there we go. Done. Heading runway track. I'll just check that on my map. That's 222 degrees for the heading. That's done. Departure attitude. Well, without ACT on, we'll just go straight to setting in our cruise height, which is now 30. That's done. Speed. Right, speed of course for V1 was 137. We'll make that out of 10. Make it 147. Oh, that's set. Now we're ready for pushback and start up. But before we do though, we've got to put in our seats. I'm going to bring up Habitab. It will work, but only as the drop down. It's not integrated within the rotate. And I've already had a chance to look at the SIDS. This is Adelaide Airport 23, runway 23 is this end. And we'll be flying runway heading, turning this way, and the SID we'll be looking at is the Bendo 2. Just going back to the airport details. This is going to be a fairly easy taxi from here to runway 23 and out that way. Okay, so we can now put in our departure. Departure from YPAD will be runway 23 and Bendo 2 will execute our legs. Everything's good there, no discos. And what we'll do though is we'll run through our modes to see if that's okay. Steps. There we are. Everything looks pretty good. That's 10, that's 5, 10, 20. Okay, let's get our pushback organised. And we're going to push back over to the left here. For some reason it won't. I'll try that again. Yeah, that's better. Now we got it. Come back just a little bit.
All right, Captain, got the directions. Let me know through the menu when you're ready.
But we are ready to go.
Great news, Captain. Your tow's coming.
They turn on the EPR limiter already. No, I'll wait for the engine starts on that. Be interested to see whether this air bridge pulls back with this scenery. I don't think it has auto gate in it, but we'll see.
All right, looks like the doors and hatches are closed and we're ready to connect.
And Cathay Pacific Boeing there alongside of us. Cathay Pacific actually do fly from Hong Kong and China into Adelaide. Singapore Airlines 747 over there. Actually, I'm not sure that isn't a Boeing, that's an Airbus. Am I right?
Welcome aboard, Captain. Tow's connected, bypass pins inserted. Go ahead and kill the parking brake when you're ready to go.
Parking brake off.
Here comes the pushback. Light them up.
Okay. Ignition switch to system A on. We start engine, the right engine first. 1 down, 2. Now we should already start to see the N2 rise, which it is doing. When it gets to 2021, we can turn on the right fuel valve, and it's there. Okay, we wait for the buses to click in and out. There it goes. Left engine. Everything's going okay outside. Bit of rainy weather around, but that should be okay. Let's see how our N2 is going. Coming up 21. Again, we wait for the buses to switch over to...
Just about done here. Go ahead and set your parking brake.
Over to the engine
and
generators.
We're disconnecting the tow. Give me just a moment.
There we go. Right, engine switch can go to off. We'll overshot. We can turn both of those off. There we go. AP bleed can go off. APU power buses can go off. Now that we're over to engine gens, we can turn the APU off itself. The galley can come on. Fuel heat, not going to worry about, only if we had very low outside
and we're
temperature.
disconnected. Signal and pin on the left. Take it easy and have a safe flight.
Thank you, thank you. Ice protection meters to be set to captain. Hydraulic pumps 1 and 2 both to go to high. The crossfeed valves left and right can be turned off. HP bleed can now go to auto for both. That brings the packs on. We arm the speed brake. Takeoff condition we set before with the centre of gravity and the flaps. And we also set the trim. Flaps can go flaps 11, 2. Auto brake selector goes to take off. Seat belts can come on. Nose light can go to dim. Timer, run. Parking brakes released. I think they are. There now, off they go. So that's done. Let's check the flow controls. Yoke all the way to the left, all the way to the right, all the way forward, all the way back. Move that. The brakes are being checked. Pedals all checked. Weather radar on. Transponder TARA. Transponder direction should be above. Auto brake arm. Oral config warning, none. Okay, nothing to worry about there. Takeoff checklist ignition. This is only just before we take off, so we don't need that right now. And we're ready to roll out to runway 23 holding point. Before we do that, I'm going to do the requirement as far as the gross weight and zero fuel weight is concerned. I'll just go back to the menu for our takeoff. No, I don't need to. I've already got that. That's zero fuel weight. I'll do that from my notes. Zero fuel weight was 117.9. Let's make that 118. That'll do. It'll click back to gross weight. There we go. Now we can taxi. I might bump the sound up just a little bit. Rotate sound is not F mod, so it's not quite as good. I believe that Rotate will probably incorporate that into their new MD11 together with rain on the windshield. I think also Avitab will come into the onto the side there, but they've indicated they won't be doing that until they they won't be incorporating that in this particular aircraft until they finish the MD11. So it's just one of those things we've got to wait for. I'm going to go ahead and line up. Now I can bring up the checklist for the takeoff. Ignition switch to on. Landing lights left and right on. Bright on the nose light. Takeoff mode on EPR. Move it forward a bit. Okay. Toga. Stand on the brakes. Bring up the EPR to 1.3. I can put on the nav switch while we're here. Coming up to 1.2. Auto throttle on. We don't need this. There's no call out, of course. We have to go by our bugs. positive rate, gear up. When we get to 1,000 feet, autopilot on. Vertical speed, rotate to 1,000. First flap, notch flaps at 180. Bit of weather out there. Second notch of flaps fully up now. When we get to 250, we can set the speed at 250 anyway. IAS. Set to climb. We should be following the, and looks like we are. And we can go VNAV. The flight mode annunciator is what you see here. That details the different procedures that are happening. In other words, the aircraft is flying as per the flight management computer. The altitude has been set at flight level 300. We're tracking using nav. We're using VNAV for the climb mode. So let's have a look outside now that it's clear. And there we are. And it's following the SID. Let's have a look at that. Yep. Back up to our checklist. And we'll go to the next one, which is takeoff, which we've done all that positive climb. Everything above that, all's okay. Climb EPR mode, we've already done that. Auto brake selector now can go to off. Ignition switch can go to off. Speed brake can be retracted. Hydraulic pump transfers can go off, and the auxiliary off as well. We're at 10,000 feet, which is transition height. Over to standard, and we can go and turn off the nose light. We can turn off our landing lights. The seat belt sign can come off to auto, and that's it. Now, no need to follow that checklist until such time as we reach cruise height. Your damper off. I better put That panel, of course, is another one of your enunciator panels, and before takeoff you can check all of that out. There's all these stall tests and max speed warnings and things like that. If you really want to, you can do that before takeoff. And you can also check we're getting another message there, and I would imagine it's something to do about the centre tank fuel, which is exhausted, so we can go off and you can turn those two off, and that warning's gone off. And we're climbing quite nicely at 300 knots. 6 nautical miles to our next waypoint at Barker. The speed should be roughly 304, which it probably is. Flight level 140, which we've just passed through. So, sit back, enjoy the flight. I'll probably pause the video again at this stage until we're at cruising height and on our way down to Melbourne, and then we'll look at our stars and the likely well, I'll pull that up now. We'll have a look at active sky, the briefing. Let's just have a look at the map. Lock to aircraft. It looks like the weather is I'm going to have a lot of cloud. Looks like it all the way down. Yep. Oh well. Go back to our briefing, down to YMML. We can expect runway 27, which means we're going to have to come around. It's going to be a downwind, and then finals into runway 27. Maybe the weather will change before then, but I doubt it. So again, I'll put this on pause and come back to you when we're starting just before our descent into Melbourne. Okay, here we are back again. We're currently cruising at flight level 300. I've already activated the cruise button on the PR. Everything's working, flowing quite well. Now what we've got to look at, of course, is what the approach to Melbourne will be in which runway. So we'll bring up active sky and we'll go into the briefing. If we look down here, there's all our weather details. It looks like wind directions 340 at 11 knots. A few clouds on 020, scattered 029, broken at 042. Our QNH is 1020. That actually converts over to inches, 30.12. So it looks like it's going to be a runway 27 approach. It does say here runway 34. That's probably the alternative. That's an RNAV approach. Runway 27 is an ILS approach, so we'll probably go with that. Before I do anything, I'll go up and set I've already set the runway height at Melbourne, and it's just a bit over 400 feet. It's actually about 410. And what we can do now is we can set the barrow over to 30.12. That looks like that's it. Right, now we'll see, we'll organise our approach now, get our star organised. I'm going to bring down our tab again. I've already sort of had a look. That's runway 27 there. We'll have a look at the actual arrival in a minute. That's our localizer, 109 frequency, 109.3. Here's our elevation is actually 434 feet. And just going down there, it looks like initial approach fixed about 2,500. And looking at our minimum descent height, if we're straight in landing runway 27, it's either 610 baro or 203 radio nav. Now, from what I seem to have discovered is that the rotate will only take, well, you can only enter the radio height, and to do that we move this one here. So we got 203. Don't know, it won't be perfectly accurate, it's going to be in increments of 10, so we'll leave it at decision height 200. Just going back to the approach now. Runway 27 is this way. We're coming downwind. So what we'll have to do is the best approach will be the Lizzie approach, sorry, the arrival, and then down to the 27 ILS approach. I'll move this out of the way for the moment. And down to FMC, let's start putting some figures in. And arriving, it'll be ILS 27. We'll do the Z approach. It's the Lizzie 8A arrival. And the transit will be visas. Transition, I meant. Let's go back down and have a look at that as far as the legs are concerned. We've got a disco there. That's because we were going to travel, go through waypoint R Bay down to Melbourne and possibly a runway 16 approach, but that can't happen now because of the wind direction, so we'll move Lizzie up to there, execute it, next page, down at C127 is the final approach fix. It looks good. But what we'll do, of course, is we'll check it out with our modes. There we go, everything's right. Let's see where our top of descent is. Looks like another, about another 80 nautical miles to top of descent, so we've still got time to sort a few things out, go back to our FMC, and we'll have to have a look at our approach VREF. The VREF in this case is going to be 40-degree flap setting, 132 knots plus 5. That's 137 is our VREF. Now the other thing we've got to do, of course, is put in our course and our frequency for runway ILS 27. 109.30 is the frequency. That one. That one. And the course again. 263. We'll go other way. That one's done. And that's done. So we're all set up. So there's nothing much more to do now except to wait till we reach top of descent. Wind corrections. YMML runway 27, 7,500 feet, or 2,287 metres. Yep. While we're here and we've got nothing to do, I might just have a look. I don't think the doors will open while we're flying. No, I think they stay locked. Oh no, there we go. How come? Oh, we've got nobody on board. That's not good. Not a soul. Rotate have done a pretty good job with the cabin, I think. I thought I may have had a window view for the setup, but I don't know what happened to it. I'll just go forward a bit. Come down a bit. Come on down. It's a bit slow for some reason, even with the shift key. Not to worry, we'll just go back to the cabin. Getting a little bit of lag there for some reason. I'll just close the door if I can. There we go. And one thing I have to do, of course, is we're going to do, as we get closer to the top of descent, which is coming up pretty quick now. Looks like we're just a bit, about 40 nautical miles. I'm going to put our initial approach fix in about, I'm going to put it at 3,000 feet. Said 2,500 on the chart there before, but I'm just going to stick with 3. Haven't been able to pick up anything on the weather radar on this aircraft. I assume it does work. Maybe the clouds need to be a lot more full of water. I can actually pull the throttles back because we're on auto throttle. I had the radar looking down, but it's not picking up anything, so I just have to assume that those clouds aren't any threat. Getting close to top of descent. Yeah, oh, there they are. They just active sky just redrew the clouds. I'm getting a little bit of a frame drop there, but actually this aircraft isn't too bad with the frames, surprisingly. In fact, we just might have a quick look and see what they're doing. Oh yeah, down a bit. They're just scraping to get to 20. See what it's like outside. Yeah. Still, it seems to be working okay. I suppose if I turned off OBS, it'd probably, you know, the frame rates would probably get better. Right, now we're coming up pretty well close to the top of descent. The aircraft should just automatically descend by itself. And there we go. Now up here straight away you see that the vertical speed reads out at on the MCP. Speed 282, and it says here it wants to drop back to 271 as it gets down. Okay, we can bring up our checklist now. Descent checklist, altitude, that's we've set that. We now switch the EPR mode over to climb, even though we're going down. A bit odd, but over to climb. Transponder direction to below. Cabin pressure and landing elevation is set. Well, we did that before. Engine sync we don't worry about. Seatbelt signs. Income on. Looks like I pushed the wrong one there. That's it. Landing lights, well, we don't worry about that until we're well on our way down to 10,000. And if you're wondering what those buttons are for, that one on the left in particular is, as you know, when you're coming into an ILS approach and you turn off both the autopilot and the auto throttle, you get the ILS call. If you push that button there, apparently, I haven't used it, but apparently it stops the call out from annoying you. We don't need this for the moment. We can go hide that. I'm getting some stutters now for some reason. I'll just see if I've got too many programs running. Yeah, I'll turn off YouTube. Oh, sorry, that's my browser Opera. That might help. Next waypoint is Arby. That's 46 nautical miles to go. That'll bring us down to 8,300. And our speed should be 240 knots. You get a bit of cloud flicker there. A bit of heavy cloud ahead. Let's see if it shows up. Doesn't look like it. I think I got my settings right there. Just go over to weather and see what it does. Nothing. And descending rapidly. And when we get to waypoint Lizzie, there should be there it is. There's going to be a sharp turn back to head towards runway 27. We're really on the downwind leg. It looks like we're already picking up the ILS DME. down, coming down. And looking again at the flight mode annunciator here, you can see we're following the flight management computer. Throttles are back at idle. We've set our approach height at 3,000 feet. We're following the nav track, VNAV for descending, controlling the descent. There's about 4 or 5 pages in the manual to explain all the different notifications you'll get on this. It's quite long. I haven't sort of really gone into it in depth. And good to see we have the green banana to help us. Airspeed's still up around over the 300. And if it doesn't drop to around 240 by the time we get to Lizzie and 9, we can help it along with a bit of speed brake. And we're into our turn now. And actually I might do that. It should have pretty immediate effect. And already the speed's coming down. Funny thing is too, if we really wanted to, at 300 knots we could put the gear down. That's how different this aircraft is to the Boeings. Our next waypoint at mate 230 knots, and already we've come right down, so what we can do is we can put the speed brake back. We're at 8,000 feet, so we've got to change our barrow over to 1020. Our speed's coming back down, and 230. Right, we can also turn our lights on. 10 landing lights, I mean. Now we're coming into our, starting to get close to the approach. I'm going to set the heading at the same as the course, 263. And we might see some activity soon with the ILS. Now let's see what we've got up here with our checklist to worry about. Approach and landing. We can do that now. Ignition switch to both. Hydraulic pumps transfer to on. Auxiliary to on. Gear down? No, not yet. Bit of rain around. And as you can see, rotate haven't had rain effect on the windscreen as yet. It's promised after they complete the MD11. Speed's coming down. We're at 230 knots for Matt. And that's in 4 nautical miles. And just about ready to make the final approach. And we should start to see some action with the ILS soon. Everything's coming down nicely. Now we're starting to see the ILS coming alive now. And we can actually take our first slat extension. I'm going to put the nose light over to bright. Now I don't think we'll be needing the speed brake because we can do a lot of our slowing down just by using the flaps, and that's what this particular aircraft is noted for. Landing gear already, you see. We'll take another flap. And we'll put the gear down. I think we're just on flap 11, aren't we? Yep. The ILS is coming down. The bug, I mean. Low. And maybe we can take another flap. We'll be soon at our approach speed, approach altitude. Speed 185, ILS is nearly aligned there. You seem to be managing everything so far. can now take over from the FMS and override it as far as the speed is concerned. Not quite captured yet. Getting close though, getting close to our 3,000 feet. We'll do our speed brake arm now. That switch won't stay down for some reason, I don't know why. Speed brake, auto brake, yep, we don't need this anymore. Okay, let's take over from the FMS and we can start putting our speed back. We can drop it down to VREF, which is 137. And we're descending now. Speed is coming down. And we can take another flap. Looks like the ILS is captured. Got this slightly below. Our flaps are all the way down now into the landing position. And we should start to see the runway in front of us there somewhere. And our VREF speed is set there now. And we got airport inside. Looks like we're lined up nicely. Doesn't that look good? Wow. Not the easiest aircraft to land because of the centre of gravity setup. Engines at the rear. It tends to like to come in nose high, very hard sometimes to get it down. But let's see how we go this time, try and not mess it up. And the winds are coming, there's the wind indicator there, it looks like it's 19. But it's head on, so that shouldn't be too bad. My aircraft. She certainly likes to float a bit. continue. Not a good landing.
100, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Reverse is on. Yes, that nose floats. Off the runway a bit there. Give it some brakes. Reverse thrust is going full bore. And we can turn that off and we can come in. Nearly lost it there. We can put all our flaps up. Heavy braking. I think the automatic auto braking wasn't working. That switch, that doesn't seem to work for some reason. Might be a bug in the program. Okay, let's get our checklist up again. We've done all of this. Go to the next one. Taxi and checklist. Ignition switch off. Ice protect meter select heat off. Landing light left and right both off. Nose light on to dim for taxiing. Flight directors off. Position lights to on. Transponder XPT mode. Weather radar off. And already the APU start, which we can do. We don't need to put the APU buttons on just yet. We can now just taxi to the stand. Let's go. She's calling out because I was using trim on the way down, and if that's all, that doesn't match. That's what she's calling out. We can turn this off for the moment. I wish that checklist I could put on another screen and just follow it manually and not automatically. Bit too fast there, but anything coming? I doubt it. No traffic around today. Welcome to Melbourne Airport. And we should be able to turn in here. Not sure whether Melbourne Airport has auto gate. We'll see. I don't think it does actually. I'll take the next one along. Well, that's an odd sort of a line-up, isn't it? Brakes. Let's have a look how badly I lined up there. A bit further forward. That should do it. Not exactly in line, but brakes on. Okay. Back to our checklist. Should be able to set the APU availability, the gens there. Nose light can come off. Okay, another lots of switches to do here. Next one is both the HP bleeds to go to off. The fuel valve to close. That will bring our engines off. Fuel pumps are all off except the aft one for powering the GPU, the APU. Those off, and that off. Our hydraulic pumps now go to low. Our transfers both go off. Our anti-collision light goes off. Seat belts can go off. Transponder goes to standby mode. It then says request GPU, but I think I just leave it on the APU at the moment. And what we'll do is we can go outside and just do a quick replay to see how bad that landing was. And here we go. Should be going full speed and see what it's like. I think that's a bit slow. A bit of a problem with it. Alright, that's better. Oh, bit of a hard landing. At least I didn't drag the tail. That nose just has to come down. There we go. Reverses are out. Clamshells. That's where it nearly ran off. We'll go back, have a look at it from the front. Oh. Not sure whether there was a bit of a crosswind there. Oh yes. Oh yes. A real crab. A bit hard there, but a lot of wing flex. Nose wheel down. And off to do some mowing. No. It for me. I hope you enjoyed watching. I must admit I do enjoy flying this particular aircraft. A lot more work involved. It's very rewarding once you learn where all the switches, knobs, etc. So thanks for watching, and I'll finish up here. So long.